Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Mike Lindell at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98, for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. And one more thing, we know MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced that they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March the 1st, 2025. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you've listened to me for any length of time, you know what a big fan I am of the Walhalla Performing Arts Center. If you're looking for something fun to do on any given weekend, you'll most likely find it at the Walhalla Performing Arts Center. For example, tonight you can enjoy some great comedy with the White Comedy Tour. Visit WalhallaPAC.com for their full lineup and to purchase your tickets. On our guest line today, the man who makes it all happen, the executive director of the Walhalla Performing Arts Center, Mark Thompson. Welcome, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Mr. Hudson, and you make it sound so official. You know, I also help clean the toilets and mop the floors around here, so I don't need a big title. But as I said, I would love to be your driver and travel with you and Peg and Mr. Gallagher and take in some of these great activities that you folks are a part of. So envious of all the fun you folks have.
Well, we had a great time for sure in the nation's capital to see President Donald Trump being sworn in. And look, now, I don't like the idea that you're trying to take my job as Mike Gallagher's driver.
I don't know, Joey. I saw you and Miss Peg in your black tie attire. So I know you're not driving anything. You didn't have a hat on, so but I could certainly do that, or I could. I could be your personal bodyguard. I mean, 6'1", 210, I still get around pretty good, so I could at least help you with that. But whatever the job may be. But yes, no, it looked like you guys had a tremendous time and exciting times. And I'm looking forward to 2025 for not only the auditorium, but for all of us. And, great things to come. And we've got a big season coming up. And I know you've been out here with Miss Peg for a number of shows and just have a lot of fun coming up here.
Yep. Speaking of having a good time, you guys know how to have a good time at the Walhalla Performing Arts Center. What a great lineup you have for 2025. So why don't you take a minute, Mark, and just give us a quick overview of what you have in store for us?
Well, Joey, we've got tonight, we've got the White Collar Comedy Tour coming into town. It's a professional lawyer, a professional doctor, and a professional teacher who are on their side business. They are comedians, and they do this is their fun, their passion, their hobby. They're all professional by day and now professional by night. In fact, my good friend, excuse me, Mike Rivera, who is the teacher in the group, has won national accolades as Teacher of the Year. He's been on a number of morning show TV shows that a lot of people have seen. He has been seen, in the Greenville area. I know he's at the Peace Center and in Atlanta at the Fox Theater and surrounding areas. He's with the Board Teachers Comedy Organization. He's one of their headline entertainers there. So he has brainstormed to get these two friends of his together to do this White Collar Comedy Tour. So they'll be here tonight. The show's at 7:30. We open the doors at 6:30. We've got coming up a variety of shows. A1A, the official Jimmy Buffett sanctioned band that will be here the following week. And we've got country, the Malpass Brothers. We've got some friends of ours, Patrick Davis, who's from our great state of South Carolina, appearing here with Maggie Rose, Dan Tominski, and David Ryan Harris, collaborating as there's Southern songwriters. And so they'll be in here, and they've been featured on SCETV and ETV with their special. And of course, Maggie, who's got one is written up in Rolling Stone this year as one of the top 100 albums of the year for 2024. And Dan Tominski, of course, who has was in the George Clooney movie and Man of Constant Sorrow, and and Patrick has written for Jimmy Buffett and a number of other big artists. So we've got that, and we've got Family Friendly Mutt's Gone Nuts, and we've got the Steel Drivers in here for a weekend. We've got the grandchildren of Conway and Loretta, Trey and Taylor Lynn will be in here for another sellout show. We've got our golf tournament we just listed. It's a fundraiser for our facility. More comedians. Black Jacket Symphony will be in here doing their shows. Corey Smith will be in the building. We are going to announce Sammy Kershaw is going to be here. We're announcing that show. We've got a Sarah Evans date coming up. Jason Crabb, of course, one of the best in the Christian music singer-songwriter area. So Allman Betts, the sons of the Allman Brothers, will be here in June, the beginning of June. So just a number of shows, outdoor shows, indoor shows. And again, they're all family-friendly shows as you come in here. It's a great facility. We are ranked at a 500-seat facility is what our fire code is at. We've got great light sound production in the facility. It's just a great retired school with this incredible auditorium theater inside, and 120-year-old building and 20,000 square feet of building. So just a lot of fun. We had the swinging medallions here. We've got the Mother's Finest coming back in. It's just endless what we've got going on. So many shows trying to fill and fit the personalities of most anybody in the Upstate, really. So a lot of fun.
Yeah. Wow. What a great lineup you have coming up. Again, you can get your tickets and see this full lineup at walhallapac.com, walhallapac.com. Now, Mark Thompson with me today, Executive Director of the Walhalla Performing Arts Center. Mark, when we talked last, you had some plans for some new rooms that you've renovated. Give us an update on where you stand with that.
Yeah, sure, Joey. So as I mentioned, in the 20,000 square foot footprint of our building, above our main structure as you come in the front of the building, the original schoolhouse portion in the front, above the lower half, we had almost 6,000 square feet of space on the second floor, which you'd never know, but it was decaying above us, below the roof that we're all under, and it had not been utilized in 40 years. And so we were very fortunate enough. We had raised some funds and got with the South Carolina PRT Foundation, and being a nonprofit, and we're also in a historic building, we applied for a grant to renovate the upstairs and utilize the space. So we've got these 5 original classrooms that we have taken through the years. It had been framed up, and it had been utilized through the school district back in the 80s as secondary offices for transportation and whatever other activities within the school district, but they were housed in this building. So we stripped out all the old 2x4 panel walls and the drop ceilings and all the old wiring, and stripped it back to the original plaster, had it all redone, went back to the original beadboard ceilings, had all new flooring put into the upstairs as well as our lobby area, and have turned these 5 rooms into 2 of which are short-term rentals. We're calling them quote unquote, they're not Airbnbs, but they are short-term rentals. And I know that that's a common name for folks to associate with. And then the second 2 rooms, the smaller 2, which they're all large rooms. The smaller rooms are 24 by 22, and the larger rooms, which are our short-term rental, are 24 by 32. And so each one of those is just a full-on suite where it's got a private bath, a beautiful bathroom, and then a nice kitchenette area with actually a stovetop burner and refrigerator, and all the little amenities that go with that. King-size bed, TV, a beautiful TV, couch area, sitting area. So we have got those ready, and then so we've got the 2 office spaces that we're using in the smaller rooms, the 2 short-term rental lodging, and then 1 bonus room that is 24 by 42, and that will be utilized as a conference room. We're going to be hosting different events for the city, the county, the chamber, local government, and of course our own board meetings. So, and maybe even some pre-show meet and greets. So like when Joey Hudson comes here and Mike Gallagher comes in, we can do a private meet and greet upstairs, and Mike can stay in one of the short-term rentals and we can have some fun here in the building. But it's given us the ability to help with the short-term rental, to help underwrite the cost of keeping up 20,000 square foot of a 120-year-old building. So that will help our nonprofit so that we don't have to rely on the taxpayers in the county and the city, a little more self-sufficient here. And we are a true nonprofit, which doesn't fall under the jurisdiction, of the city or the county. We do apply for a hospitality tax with both of them. But again, we have to qualify and we get a certain amount. But so great things going on upstairs. They will be launched. It looks like we're on our final date. We've gotten all of our cameras and our new door lock, keypads, all this high-tech stuff put in here for the lodging. And so it looks like we're going to try to have these ready to go around Valentine's Day to start the rentals so that we can get them up and running in February. We've got a line of people already ready, that want to come in and stay in the unit. So just a great time, exciting. Can't wait to have you, Miss Peg, come out. In fact, maybe you could be one of our first guests upstairs in the unit.
Well, it all sounds exciting. And look, we'd love to take you up on that because, as you know, we love joining you from time to time for some of your wonderful shows. And we already have some picked out on our list for this spring. So we'll look forward to seeing you. And, of course, every Wednesday we have our Walhalla Wednesday where you have we have some great tickets for you. So for my listeners out there, plan to listen on Wednesdays for your chance to win some free tickets. Mark, we appreciate our partnership with you and friendship with you, and look forward to seeing you real soon.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hudson. Thank you so much, and all my best to Miss Peg, and give Mike a shout-out for me, too.
Sure thing. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Email's always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. For as long as I can remember, when you want to recognize someone for a job well done, Cowart Awards is the place to go. From trophies to plaques for the wall to a nice crystal award for the desk, Cowart Awards always has the right solution for any occasion. Joining us today to talk about his family-owned and operated business is George Cowart. Welcome, George. How are you?
I'm doing well, Joey. Thank you for having me.
George, you recently, I guess let's say officially on paper, took over the family business, right?
That is correct.
Yep. Now, you'd been working in the business for a long, long time, but how different is it now that, again, on paper, that you are the owner, operator, CEO?
Well, you're right. I've been there pretty much my whole life, and so I have fond memories of being a toddler dusting trophies, and I would get a couple bucks and actually go next door to Tandy Leather. I don't know if you remember that place on Lawrence Road, and would spend my $2 on a rabbit pelt or something that was meaningless now, but was kind of fun at the time. But it is different. The difference is now that you realize you are the one in charge, and everything relies on you. And so I always like to say that being in charge, I get none of the accolades and all of the troubles whenever things don't go exactly how they're supposed to go. So not having someone else to go to above does make the pressure at times a little bit different than just working in the business.
Sure. And, owning a business can be tough at times, but would you say that it's even harder when you have the responsibility of keeping the family business alive and well?
Well, there's a little bit of added pressure. I remember a small business professor I had in college, and I think at the time it was 65% of all small businesses or family businesses fail in that first transition to the second generation. So that's always been in the back of my mind. So there is some pressure there. I try not to let it get to me. Obviously, we've been around. We're celebrating our 60th year in business this year. So we opened in 1965. And so there's a lot of joy in continuing this legacy that my dad and his brother started. But yeah, it's definitely in 2025, we have come through some major milestones. So, I mean, just navigating COVID, for instance, was a really interesting time. Challenging in some ways, and obviously still being here after that is rewarding in itself.
Yep. On our guest line today, George Cowart, the owner, operator, CEO of Cowart Awards, a business that's been in his family since the beginning 60 years ago. Let's take a minute, George, and just talk about the history of Cowart Awards and how it came about.
Well, my dad was 14. He was pretty young. His father actually passed away when he was 12, 13 years old. So he had a single mom. He was the youngest of 7 kids, and his older brother, Tom, who is passed as well, kind of was his father figure. And he worked for an electrical company, noticed this machine in the corner, inquired kind of what it was. It was a pantograph machine, which is a hand engraver. Asked what it was, what they did with it. Well, that's what we used to make our plate for electrical panels with. And he said, well, what do we do now? And they said, well, we buy them. And he said, well, if I made them, would you buy them from me? And they said, yeah, I guess so. So he bought the pantograph engraver, took it home, informed my dad that he was now an employee of Cowart Engravers, and that's kind of how it started. They started in my grandmother's kitchen, actually, until she kicked them out into the garage, and that was over on Oak Street in West Greenville, which is now known as the Art District.
Yep.
And so that's kind of where I grew up. Then, kind of the history there. As they went along, my dad got a little bit more, percentage of the company. He would buy a little bit, and then his brother Tom was also a pastor, and he was felt called to come back to full-time ministry. So he informed Dad that he could either buy him out completely or get fired. So he bought him out. And that became, at that point it was Cowart Trophies. And then a couple years later, which is in the early 80s, I think he officially bought him out in 81, and it became Cowart Awards.
Yep.
And so that's kind of where we've been. That was we've been on Lawrence Road since, I think, 1973, and we're still at 912 Lawrence Road. And actually, we have 910 Lawrence Road now for future expansion. That way we don't have to leave ever. But we've, the scope of the business is, we are award centered. We love the recognition business. We think it is vital to companies, and you can see the data, have statistics of seeing how it improves productivity, efficiency, and employee retention. And it's just fun to be a part. We get to be a part, and that's what I tell my team. We get to be a part of the best part of their day.
Yeah.
No one really wants a trophy until they're awarded one.
Yes.
And I've never seen somebody awarded a trophy and didn't have a smile on their face. So that's pretty fun. So we still are heavily involved in the awards industry, but we are kind of a custom manufacturing. We've seen that kind of move into other spaces, obviously with ADA signage, and we do some custom prototyping, and then I like to just call it custom manufacturing. So we, somebody comes in with a project, and I like to think that we can solve whatever issue it is. And if we're a good fit for the project, we love to work with you. And I always say, if you give me a shot, talk to me. If I can't do it for you, I'm a great start, because if I can't do it and it's not a good fit for our company, I'll let you know that up front, and I can normally point you to who the best person it is to get that project done.
Yep. George Cowart is with me today. If you'd like additional information, or maybe you need that special plaque to recognize someone, go to their website, awardsthatwork.com, awardsthatwork.com. George, and I've known your mom, I knew your dad, known about your business for many, many years. And what you just said a minute ago is right. I mean, you guys can get pretty creative. I mean, there have been times that we haven't, I've been involved with an organization, didn't quite know what we wanted, and we tried to express that to you, and you always came through. You always came up with that special award. You serve a lot of nonprofit organizations in the Upstate, and they always are concerned about their budgets. How do you balance trying to make a profit for your business, but also serving the community?
Well, I have to keep my mom out of the discussions sometimes. But you know what, we've been very blessed in our business. We're very fortunate, and we feel like I make decisions sometimes more from my heart than my head, and my business brain sometimes has to get on to me. But at the end of the day, if you can lay your head down at night, we like to do what's right. So we do work with a lot of these nonprofits. There are times when I work with people, and it's a need more than a want. And if I'm impressed to kind of be generous in that situation, that's just what I do. Yeah. And so we enjoy that. A lot of these nonprofits, they do great work, and lives are being touched, and that's just a way that we get to kind of pay it forward. And we just always believe that if we put our best foot forward and we lead with our hearts, and that God's going to be good to us, and He always has. So that's kind of our stand on that.
Yep. Again, that website is awardsatwork.com. George Cowart, thank you for your time today, and congratulations on 60 years.
Thank you. It really is an honor. I can't say that I'll see it 60 years from now, but I'm looking forward to that 40 more years. I'd love to see 100 years in business.
Yeah.
That's rare these days, and it's out there, and just looking forward to a good 2025.
Yep. Appreciate your time today,
Joey. Thanks so much.
Continuing our series of interviews with mayors of the Upstate, we move over to the northern part of Spartanburg County to the city of Landrum. With the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains as a backdrop, Landrum was founded in 1880 and is a home of some great antique shops, some good food at many local restaurants. And joining us today, Mayor Bob Briggs of Landrum. Welcome, Mayor. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad you are doing well as well.
Thank you, sir, and I appreciate your time. I always start these with just asking you to give us your elevator speech about Landrum.
Well, my family has been in the Landrum community since about 1860, so we go back several generations. And Landrum to me is just a beautiful place. It's perfectly positioned. We're 3 hours from Atlanta, Georgia. We're an hour and a half from Charlotte. We're an hour from Nashville, and within 30 or 45 minutes from Spartanburg and Greenville. So we're close to enough metropolitan areas that the people in Landrum want to go places they can. But it's kind of in an island to itself because, we have the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains right behind us, Hogback Mountain and Skyuka Mountain. And so, we're when you're in Landrum, you don't feel like you're that close to big cities, and you are, but you're kind of just in a really beautiful place. So between the location and where we are and the climate, in Landrum we enjoy something called the thermal belt, or in temperature inversion, where the climate's a little more moderate here, so we don't get quite as severe weather in summer and winter. It's just a beautiful place to be.
Yeah. As I mentioned to you earlier, my wife and I love to come up to Landrum. We will have lunch there, and she loves the antique shops. There's just sort of a quaintness about Landrum. To me, downtown Landrum looks like what a small city in the Carolinas should look like.
Well, I appreciate that. It doesn't happen by chance. Actually, we have an architectural review committee that when new construction gets built, they review mostly aesthetics, what buildings will look like, and how they fit into Landrum, and trying to maintain that small town look and feel, because that is important to citizens and visitors.
Sure.
So it's important.
Yep. Mayor Bob Briggs is with me today from Landrum. Talk with us about the history of Landrum. How did the city of Landrum come about?
Well, actually, the city of Landrum, if you go east on Highway 14, you cross over to Interstate 26, and about another quarter mile you cross over the Packet River. Used to be a restaurant there called Brandon's that a lot of people are familiar with. But right there at the river, there used to be a place where you forded the river, and that was called Earl's Ford. And then as the Revolutionary War came along, it became Earl's Fort, and then eventually turned into a little small community called Earlsville. And that was really where the town was gonna be, down there by the river. And when the railroad announced its plans to build their W line from Spartanburg to Asheville, that old town, Earlsville, was abandoned, and the town grew up around the railroad, and that's so the railroad is very much a part of our history.
Yeah.
So,
now,
John G. Landrum was a local Baptist minister, and he donated the property to build a road station on, and so that's why we call ourselves Landrum.
I see. I see. As I understand it, you guys are going to be part of the new trail that's going to be coming through Landrum, correct?
We are the Saluda Grade Trail, and that'll be a huge economic boost to all the little towns along the way. Inman, South Carolina, Campobello, South Carolina, Landrum, of course, Trial, North Carolina, and Saluda, North Carolina. And the trail will be a 31-mile rail trail from Inman to a little town just north of Saluda called Zarconia. So it'll be 31 miles of very beautiful pastoral views and mountain views as you go from Tryon to Saluda. And so it'll be a really a great opportunity for hikers and bike enthusiasts. As a matter of fact, the last couple of years we've got Time Bicycles and Boyd Bicycle have built their facilities for making bicycles just on the outskirts of Landrum, anticipating the Saluda Grade Rail Trail. And from a manufacturing point of view, you're building high-end bicycles, and you've got a 31-mile test track in your backyard. So
that's a good fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of business, if a business is considering opening a location in Landrum, what do you tell them about the city?
Well, I think for the past, 25, I've been mayor for 28 years. The past 28 years, we've been on a pretty steady, stable economic path upward. We've been featured in Southern Living magazine, I think, 3 times as one of the best small towns in the Upstate. And so we're on a good economic path now, and with things like the Saluda Grade Trail, this is going to get better. I think there'll be more. You think about the Swamp Rabbit Trail in Greenville, or you think about the Virginia Creeper Trail up in Damascus, and the number of people who come and visit and eat at the local restaurants and shop in the shops and walk on the trail, and it's just it's gonna bring a new economic boost to this whole area.
Yeah. Bob Briggs is with us today. He's mayor of Landrum. One final question for you, Mayor, and let's just talk about your position as mayor. Once you were elected to position, and I know you've served the city for quite a while, what was the biggest surprise about the job, and what's the hardest part of your job as mayor?
Like I said before, this will be 28 years for me, and I've been very fortunate. I've had good councils to work with. Our employees here in Landrum have just always been exceptional. We've got a great police department, and our volunteers who serve on our planning board and architectural review board and our appeals board. All those are volunteers, just citizens from our area. And I just can't say enough about the people who live in Landrum. Helene came through here last September, and I was so proud of the Landrum area, because a lot of people were without power and without phones, and not nearly as bad as, of course, Western North Carolina. But the community came together. The First Baptist Church opened its doors, and a lot of people, if they had food that was going to go bad in the refrigerators, they took it to the church. The church cooked meals and fed a lot of people, and some people stayed at the church, and we had showers and things like that. So it was sometimes it takes a disaster for people to really come together, and that's what happened, and it was a really unique experience, one that I really am proud of the way people behaved, and it was great.
Yep. Mayor Briggs, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. I appreciate your time, and good luck to you, and maybe I'll see you next time we plan our visit to Landrum.
Next time you come up here to eat at the Hare and Hound, be glad to see you, and if you have any questions, give me a call.
Thank you, sir. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. I was scanning a recent edition of the Post and Courier and found a headline that kind of got my attention. It read, "A Fountain Inn farm and tourist attraction rescues horses, sheep, and unicorns." Well, if you've listened to me for any length of time, you know that I love animals. Peg and I have our 2 Cocker Spaniels, Jesse and Simon. Over the years, I've had ponies, horses, even raised a calf whose mother died giving birth. Peg and I have supported various animal rescue groups over the years, so when I started reading about the Hidden Pasture Unicorn Farm in Fountain Inn, I knew I had to get to know about this place. Joining us on our guest line today is the lady who makes it all happen, Kate Nichols. Welcome. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Let's just start with you telling us about your farm.
Well, it kind of happened. It was serendipity, really. I bought the house probably about close to 9 years ago, and never intended to own a horse farm, but here I was. Over the course of probably the next maybe 4 or 5 months, I started rescuing miniature horses. It really was just kind of an accident. I had the money at the time, and I wanted to save some animals. So miniature horses typically suffer from horrible neglect. They're small and they're easy to keep, but sometimes people that maybe don't realize they do require a lot of care end up with them just as pasture ornaments, and they end up with bad feet and bad teeth and underweight with worms and things like that. So it was an opportunity for my partner and I just to bring them in and make them well and find them really good homes where they could go and thrive. And so that was kind of the beginning of the Unicorn Farm.
Yeah. So, Kate, when you first bought your property there, bought the farm, did you have any idea that you would end up with ponies and goats and sheep and chickens and rabbits? I mean, was that your plan from the beginning?
It really wasn't my plan. However, I think it was in the back of my mind because I did find a journal entry that I had written later that said that I'm so excited about this property and I want to eventually have goats. But no, it wasn't a part of the plan. Like I said, everything just unfolded. And it was all very natural and organic the way it occurred. So it really did become a calling for us, and now it's our life.
Yeah. With me today, Kate Nichols, and we're talking about Hidden Pasture Unicorn Farm in Fountain Inn. You can find additional information at their website, hiddenpasture.com. Okay, so Kate, I've got to ask you, what exactly is a unicorn?
Well, a unicorn is a magical creature that lives in the forest. They're usually hidden. It's a horse with a single horn on the whirl of their head, and they tend to live in the imaginations of children and adults alike who enjoy just believing in magic.
Yeah. And you have unicorns on your farm, correct?
We do. For Christmas one year, my partner Rick made me a unicorn horn because I'm a little bit quirky, and it was awesome. So our horses started wearing the unicorn horns. And then a local woman named Sharon Dillard, who has a miniature horse therapy program, set up some miniature therapy programs for a company that does this nationwide, and we joined in on that. So we got several of our horses and ourselves certified for therapy, and then suddenly we were taking our little miniature horses around town and to places like Home Depot and Tractor Supply, where you can take animals in order to get them desensitized and ready to do things like visit nursing homes and children's and hospitals. And so during that process, my one little horse, George, had on his unicorn horn at Home Depot, and a woman stopped me and said, "How much money do I need to pay you to bring that animal to my child's birthday party?" So we worked up a price right there, and I popped him in the trailer that weekend and took him over, and he was so good. He's such a good little pony.
His
name
cool
is George
that?
Aurora.
George.
And he has been to Shriners, and he's been to all different kinds of places. And we even took him to a funeral where a woman sadly lost her child.
Wow. Yeah. You know, Kate, as I mentioned, over the years, I've had horses, ponies, cows, and a lot of people, they think, well, these animals, they're pretty big. They're bigger than your typical household pet, a cat or a dog. But, they're just big babies. I mean, they have their own personalities. I had a pony one time that loved Coca-Cola, would drink Coca-Cola. I'd hold the bottle up, and he would drink Coca-Cola out of the bottle.
Well, it is delicious.
Yes, it is. And I had
and horses know these things.
They do, and I think again because people just think that they're bigger animals that they don't do things. I had a pony who would retrieve a ball. I'd throw the ball just like my two Cocker Spaniels do now. So they develop their own personality, and they're just fun to have around. How many animals do you have on your farm?
Well, my rule of thumb is if I can count them, then I don't have enough.
Good rule of thumb. Good answer.
But, back to your point about dogs and horses and that comparison, what a lot of people don't realize is that horses are exactly as smart, or if not smarter than dogs.
Yes.
The difference is they don't emote the same way. So where, you can tell dogs are typically used as guide animals and service animals, and you can tell when they're happy and they wag their tail and they smile. Horses smile too when you learn their expression, but horses can live to be 40 years old.
Yeah.
And you can train a miniature horse to do the same thing you can train a dog to do. And more people are turning to miniature horses as service animals and guide animals because they only have to train one animal. They have a longer lifespan, and you can very easily potty train a horse. They can do all the same things a dog can do.
Kate Nichols is with me with Hidden Pasture Unicorn Farm. You can find out additional information at hiddenpasture.com. So, Kate, this is a bit of a career detour for you, right? I mean, you hadn't always aspired to be a unicorn farmer.
Well, I think in my early years, I did want to have an agritourism farm. Like I said, sometimes your life just kind of follows you down the road, and you don't even realize you're on the path that you wanted to be on until you turn around. And there you are. Life can be a mystery sometimes, and I think the unicorn farm is definitely testament to that.
Yeah.
But, Rick and I, we do still work jobs during the week. Farming is a labor of love. And I heard an old farmer say one time that if you're making money farming, you're doing something illegal. And that is really true because it's hard work. We spend approximately $52,000 a year just on hay and grain.
Yeah.
That's not on animal care. And, Rick and I are just two people that work full-time jobs, and we have 3 children in a blended family.
Yeah.
So we're just regular people that love animals, and we love people. We love to help animals and care for animals, and we like to put those two things together.
Yeah. Kate, in our final minute or so together, give us the information about the farm, operating hours, and as I understand it, if you have a special event, a birthday or something like that, it's the perfect place to celebrate, right?
It really is. It's a beautiful farm. Rick has done a great job. We have a small holding agritourism area up at where the barn is, where the animals are. You can come in and see the unicorns on display. We have free-range petting animals all around. We just have typical farm animals. We don't have any exotics. So we have miniature cattle, sheep, goats. We do dairy goats. We have chickens and turkeys, peacocks, and lots of rabbits around the farm. Of course, our farm dogs are up there, and we have cats as well. People come to the farm. We're open on Saturdays and Sundays from 11 to 4. We do birthday parties on-site and off-site, and all that information can be found on our website. And we do a lot of events. We're an educational farm, and we love kids. So we always have the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, and we do the Renaissance Fair. We do all kinds of stuff, and we're always open to new ideas. Our goal really is to put smiles on people's faces.
Again, that website is hiddenpasture.com, hiddenpasture.com. Kate Nichols, thank you for your time today, and I want to come down and visit sometime. Good luck to you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you on the farm.
That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.